Oh,
Yes.
man, look at that. This is one of the most, well,
Yes.
say ours.
Right here, Peter.
Okay. Doug, let's go. Who's coming up? Who's speaking?
No, 1 second.
Introduce you and then
We got this guy. Isn't Deborah?
Yeah. Please
Come on up, Deborah. Okay. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning, and welcome to the Albany Nanotech complex. It's the U.S.'s most advanced publicly owned semiconductor research and development facility. And my name is Doug Gross. I'm the former chair and president of New York Creates, who is the operator of this complex. And I'm currently helping the American Semiconductor Innovation Coalition on working on the NSTC. It's certainly a great morning here in New York, thanks to Senator Schumer. And he's been a steadfast supporter of the site and has led the CHIPS Act charge right from day one. CHIPS Act is not an investment in one industry, if you think about it. It really is a strategic investment in every industry and is really an important piece of our nation's economic and national security. With the bill that passed, we're now waiting for the President's signature. New York Creates, the American Semiconductor Innovation Coalition, and our partners here and across the United States are working on the next steps for what the federal government needs. New York is very well positioned to support the federal government in this endeavor, and we believe we're prepared to have a significant portion of the National Semiconductor Technology Center here at the Albany Nanotech complex. We've already built the most advanced 300-millimeter semiconductor R&D facility in the country, and we've established an ecosystem that can turn federal investments in the U.S. semiconductor leadership by leveraging partnerships with industry, academia, and the government. Again, I want to thank Senator Schumer for his unwavering leadership and the understanding that if we longer, we would risk falling behind other countries in the semiconductor industry. So now, please let me welcome the Majority Leader of the U.S. Senate, Senator Schumer.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. And it's great to be here today. I want to not only welcome Doug, but our great Chancellor at SUNY, Deborah Stanley, who I've known even when she was just president of Oswego, SUNY Oswego. We have Peter Benyon, our Senior Vice President at Global Foundries and Manager of the Fab 8 in Malta. Tom Caulfield couldn't be here today, but he is here in spirit, and I've talked to him about 10 times since this bill has passed. We have Dr. Dario Gill, Senior Vice President of Research at IBM, which has been so important here at the center, and Ryan Silva from the New York State Economic Development Council, which runs New York's Love's Nanotech Initiative. So, it was about a year ago that I brought Commerce Secretary Raimondo to the Capital Region for the new second fab and to hear from Albany leaders how Albany Nanotech is ready to lead not just the nation but the world in cutting-edge semiconductor research. I am here to say that the passage of the CHIPS plus Science bill, the CHIPS bill, is an amazing one-two punch for the Capital Region, for jobs, and ensuring that this region's future will be greater, even greater than its past. And that is because this bill is so important. The bill is going to build more chip fabs here in the U.S., and upstate New York is well situated to become a leader, if not the leader, in the new chip fabs. And I'm working hard to do that. And the bill also creates a national semiconductor tech center, technical research R&D center. It'll be the leader in the world. And I am here to say I will use my clout as Majority Leader to make sure it comes here to Albany and to this facility right here. And I'll talk about both of those in a minute. Now, let's talk about chip fabs. We all have seen how Global Foundries chip fab up there in Malta has created over 3,000 jobs and then so many ancillary jobs as suppliers and others, the spill-offs from those 3,000 jobs. And this is one of the most advanced, this is the most advanced American factory for the kind of chips that our cars need. You've all heard of the shortage of chips. Okay? Well, Tom Caulfield told me, first, that if we hadn't passed this bill, they might not have been able to go forward with their plans for the second large foundry. And second, he said, if you pass it, it's going to speed it up and mean that we'll have even more jobs than we had anticipated to begin with. There are going to be thousands and thousands of new jobs at the second chip fab in Malta. They have orders already till 2026. If you could think of what you wanted to locate here to create good-paying jobs, new chip fab is at the top of the list to create prosperity. And it's going to mean thousands, and these are union jobs, both union construction jobs and additional jobs in the fab. Okay. But then there is also the NSTC, the National Semiconductor Technology Center. For the United States to remain number one in the world, we have to be at the front of the line when it comes to research. And the federal government has determined there should be one national center to lead that research. Some individual companies want it, but it shouldn't be at an individual company because they'll use the research for themselves. The beauty of the center here, it combines a variety of companies, a variety of universities, and a variety of governmental agencies all together. So the great research done here will spread. It is incredible. Albany, the capital region, could become the world center of research in new chips. And that is going to mean not only 1,000 more jobs here, but it's going to mean that companies are going to want to locate here. We're trying to get chip fabs to locate upstate. One of the reasons they want to come here is this center. This center right here. And again, I'm going to use my clout to make it happen. Can you imagine Albany becoming the world center of cutting-edge research in semiconductors? Whoa! It's like Detroit becoming the center of cars 100 years ago. The future will be amazing here. And I made sure one of the reasons I fought so hard for this bill was to get excuse me, if I didn't work. This is so high-tech, they don't have water. But in any case, this machine here, well, it's by a Dutch company, because we have so many companies. IBM has been a leader, but we have Applied Materials, we have many other chip fab companies, and we have a Dutch company that makes the machines that make the most advanced chips. It's so advanced we don't allow them to sell it to China. There are only about 12 of them in the world. One of them is right here, which shows you how good this center is. So this is a game changer. This is a red letter day. The Senate has passed the bill. I wrote the bill. It was bipartisan, along with Senator Todd Young, the Republican of Indiana. Excuse me. And got a frog in my throat here.
Getting water.
Okay. Excuse me. One of the most important, I fought for this bill for two reasons. One, to get chip fabs growing here in the capital region and throughout upstate New York. And many companies are looking at sites in Buffalo, in Utica, in Syracuse, as well as sites here in the capital region. But second, the real game changer is the NSTC, the National Semiconductor Technical Center. That is incredible, just incredible. Why are these chips so important? Well, they're important to our everyday lives. When chips are made more cheaply, when chips are made more efficiently, the price of automobiles, appliances, phones goes down. So it has a lot to do with inflation. But it also has to do with our national security. All of our military equipment uses chips. Each missile we send to Ukraine has over 200 chips in it. So it's so important for our national security. And this bill takes care of both. So it's just an incredible. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. This is the game changer for the capital region and for upstate New York, taking probably the most important new cutting-edge industry and locating it here. And so I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to be here. And by the way, when I wrote the language in the bill for the National Semiconductor Technical Center, I said I had a 6-letter word in mind when I wrote it. ALBANY. We're going to get it here, and it's going to be a game changer. So I'm very, very glad to be here. It's an incredible win for the capital region. Right here, we've already established here in Albany, they fabricated the very first 7-nanometer chip. That's 1/1000th of a meter. And they built the first 5-nanometer chips. And as if they couldn't get any smaller, last summer, Albany, in partnership with IBM, built the world's first 2-nanometer microchip. Don't ask me what exactly it means scientifically, but I know it's damn important. And so this is it, folks. This center is already doing great research and will do even more. So, every person in this region, and their children and their grandchildren, should have a smile on their face today, because this bill is going to just make sure that the capital region future is greater than its past, that young people will not want to leave this area, but from around the country and the world they will flock to this area because of the great research done. And with that, our next speaker, they always have the speakers at the end. The next speaker is Peter Benyon, Vice President of Global Foundries and the manager of the Fab 8 in Malta, representing a great company, and Tom Caulfield, my dear friend. Thank you. Right on time.
Okay, thank you, Senator Schumer, and hello, everyone. My name is Peter Benyon. I'm a Senior Vice President at Global Foundries and the General Manager of our Fab 8 facility just north of here in Malta. I'm very excited to be here today during this incredibly important time for semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. As you've heard, thanks to Senator Schumer's leadership, the CHIPS Act was passed last week, and Congress has expressed broad, bipartisan, and national support for leveling the playing field for competitive semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. Last week, Congress took action to protect U.S. economic, supply chain, and national security by accelerating semiconductor manufacturing on American soil and here in New York State. The investment being made will pay dividends through the creation of high-paying jobs, community vitality, research and development, and innovation in the U.S. For Global Foundries, joint GF customer-government partnership is a great example of how some of the greatest challenges can be solved by embracing new strategies and partnering together. The semiconductor industry is growing at an incredible pace as the demand for chips continues to increase. As a society, we are using more and more technology every day, and this technology is invariably enabled by semiconductors. The companies that make these semiconductors, including GF, are making investments to help fulfill this growing demand. So it's not a matter of whether chip makers are expanding their manufacturing capacity, but where they will expand. Many countries around the world have embraced this and have invested significantly in their domestic chip-making capabilities. Leaders, including Senator Schumer, recognize the U.S. needs policies in place to make semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. more globally competitive. This is the promise of the CHIPS Act. It will help semiconductor manufacturers like GF prioritize investments in the U.S. as opposed to overseas. The past 2 years have clearly shown how important chips are to American consumers, businesses, and the economic health of our nation. For GF, the CHIPS Act will have a significant impact. We're already spending over $1 billion to add capacity at Fab 8 here in upstate New York, and CHIPS funding would help accelerate significant additional expansion and and help GF prioritize further investments in Malta. GF will use our share of the $52 billion CHIPS Act to expand manufacturing in Malta, which will lead to the creation of thousands of new jobs. We would also expand our research and development efforts in Malta and Vermont. Other countries are fast-tracking investments in semiconductor manufacturing, and now the US is doing the same. So on behalf of GF's 7,000 US employees, including about 3,000 in Malta,
And growing.
I would like to thank you, Senator Schumer, for your leadership, your vision, and your tireless effort championing the CHIPS Act and strengthening semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and we love Global Foundries. They're a great New York company, and thank you for all you're doing. Next, we have Dr. Dario Gill. IBM has been one of just the leading companies, if not the leading company, in helping us create this great NSTC, National Semiconductor Technical Center. And they really are a great New York company and have come up with some of the greatest innovations in the new high-end development of semiconductor chips. Mr. Gill.
Thank you very much. I'm Dario Gill, Senior Vice President of IBM and Director of Research. And on behalf of IBM, I'd like to commend Senator Schumer for his unwavering commitment to reinvigorating America's domestic semiconductor industry. The CHIPS and Science Act will put America back at the forefront of an industry that this country created and catalyzed countless new innovations in chip technology. It's an investment that will pay real economic and national security dividends for years and decades to come. Today, I am proud to say that IBM is working with more than 100 members as part of the American Semiconductor Innovation Coalition, or ASIC. This public-private coalition is ready to make the innovation vision for the National Semiconductor Technology Center a reality. There is no other place in the world like this facility in Albany, and our national network of partners are prepared to drive immediate progress now that this is about to become law. Leader Schumer, thank you for all you have done to make this critical legislation a reality.
Thank you. Well, I'm a believer. And our last speaker is Ryan Silva. He's the Executive Director of New York State EPC, and they run the New York Loves Nanotech Initiative, and it's been a great partnership because to locate new chip fabs here, we need money from the state as well as all the federal money, and the governor is helping out on that.
Majority Leader. Good morning. My name is Ryan Silva. I serve as Executive Director of the New York State EPC. Thank you, Majority Leader, for your continued leadership, support for economic development, and for getting the bipartisan CHIPS bill done. Thank you as well to Senator Gillibrand and the entire New York delegation who voted and supported this legislation. We'll look back 25 years from now and look at this as the catalyst that transformed the capital region and upstate New York's economy into the global semiconductor hub for research, development, and manufacturing. Thank you to our partners at New York Creates, SUNY, IBM, and Global Foundries for your continued investment. The New York State EDC believes public-private partnerships are the key to economic growth and advancement. And that's what you see up here on stage today. The public, private, academic, and nonprofit sectors working together, each investing their resources to ensure the semiconductor industry thrives in New York State. And the New York State EDC stands committed to leveraging our membership, our strategic partners from Buffalo to Suffolk County and everywhere in between to ensure these programs are successful. We have received commitments from over 70 of our members across the state supporting the NSTC locating here in Albany, New York. We are in the process of developing an interactive semiconductor asset map to highlight the strength we have in New York State. And we led a delegation of 45 partners through our organization, and I want to shout out Shelby Schneider for leading that effort to showcase these assets. And what did we have to tell industry leaders from around the world? We have the sites here in the capital region and upstate New York, whether it's Luther Coors, Marcy Nano, White Pine, and STAN. We have top-tier talent and workforce training resources through our SUNY system and private academic institutions and training providers. We have world-class research and development like what's going on here with New York Creates, the ideal location for the National Semiconductor Technology Center. And we have the tools now, like the CHIPS Plus Act, the Green CHIPS Tax Credit, and Shovel Ready to bring these resources together. With these tools and resources, the capital region and upstate New York stand to gain tens of thousands of good-paying new jobs, tens of billions in new private sector investments, and significant growth that will improve the quality of life for all New Yorkers over the next decade. Again, on behalf of our membership, I want to thank you, Majority Leader Schumer, for getting this done, and we look forward to working with you to make sure these investments happen right here in New York.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Chancellor of SUNY, the great Deborah Stanley.
I couldn't miss this opportunity, Leader Schumer, to say thank you and to acknowledge your great leadership, your unwavering commitment to getting this done. And we all felt that great confidence that you would be there for us. You know, on behalf of the State University of New York, which is the largest integrated public university system in the world, we will be there, and we are preparing even now to make the most of all of this legislation and to be part of every public-private partnership that we can be a part of, all the way through the university system, in order to be a part of the research development, the manufacturing development, and also the workforce development that is so much a part of our SUNY ethic. So we will be there, and we will be making the most of this effort for New York State, for you, Senator Schumer, and for the people of New York State, so that we can grow back all of the economic development and economic impact, but also bring back the state of New York to prominence in this wonderful industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. So 2 points. First, on a lighter note, you know, we did have a chip developed in the capital region a couple of centuries ago. That was the potato chip, developed in Saratoga Springs. But these chips will do far more for the region than the potato chip did, as good as it was when it was invented in Saratoga Springs. Simply put, this growth of both manufacturing and research in semiconductor chips is going to be as important to upstate New York as the Erie Canal was. It is going to just empower us. We have more shovel-ready chip fab sites than anywhere else. We already have 34,000 employees in 80 companies doing chip fab. Some companies, in addition to Global Foundries, have already located here, and I'll be using my clout to encourage many other companies. This $52 billion grant for chip fabs is going to be given out by the federal government, and I'm going to make sure a lot of it comes to upstate New York, to the capital region. Questions on this subject?
China has developed this 7-nanometer chip. Not as great, they're not big production, but I know you blocked the ASML from exporting the EUV. Do you guys have to get the older tech banned also to prevent them from trying to advance?
One of the reasons we wanted to do this is to make sure China doesn't become the leader in chips. Because if they become the leader in chips, they will hold both our defense national security and our economic security. They'll have a vice grip on it. So we have to get ahead of China. Now, much of the way of getting ahead of China is not stopping. It's first stopping them from stealing our information and our IT. Second, and more important, it's growing it here. Our researchers are the best in the world. Dollar for dollar, we do better than the Chinese. Person for person, we do better than the Chinese. But if they're putting $30 billion into this, and we put $1 billion, which is what was happening before, they're going to get ahead of us. So we will stay ahead of China once this bill is signed into law, which it will be in the next few days. The President was going to do it this week, but COVID got in the way. Okay? Other questions on this? Yes?
How do you measure success based on investments like this? If you bring the center here, it does go up here, how long will it take before we actually see it in operation?
There is already a buzz. First, there's already a buzz in the semiconductor industry, both research and manufacturing, about this center. And it's one of the reasons that New York is in the state, one of the 2 or 3 states in the top in contention to get all these new chip fabs and all these new companies that have already, Wolfspeed just grew in the Utica region. There are a whole bunch of new companies coming already. And how long will it take? This money is going to get out the door very quickly, because we know this is sort of a race with China. So once the bill is signed into law, it will be set up very quickly. I believe by the end of the year, the Commerce Department will choose the center. I believe it will be this. I've lobbied the President. As you know, I brought the Commerce Secretary here already, and we are going to get this center. I really believe that. I don't think anything can stand in the way.
Are there any other sites in competition?
Yeah, some private companies want it to be with them, but that's a bad idea, because then they have a monopoly on the research. You know, one of the big companies is our best competitor. But because we have the union of university, private industry, and government, we're way in the lead. Okay? Anyone else on this subject?
Yeah, Justin Dodge from the Albany Business Review. So maybe IBM or Global Foundries would like to comment about, once this goes through, like what are some immediate first steps, immediate action that we might take in the future?
Right.
So first, in connection to the National Semiconductor Technology Center, that's why we have been working with a broad coalition to bring a set of partners across the different sectors, such that we can put the bid for the NSCC. So what that would mean in practice is, come 2023, we would put the teams, infrastructure required to be able to exercise the mission. And what are some of the directions that will take place? Building the next generation of transistor technology, of logic, the best generation of memory technology, of packaging, of design. That's what NSCC will do. And Albany will be a big part of creating this future, so we will get to work right away.
Is the CHIPS Act going to focus on the advanced chips and then the more mainstream, or both?
Both. We need both. I mean, for instance, Global Foundries makes a degree of chips. It's not the highest level, it's sort of second, but they're the #1 American supplier for the car industry. We can't not have our cars. Some of our auto plants have basically put workers on furlough for only one reason. Not that they don't have demand for the cars, they got a lot of that, they don't have the chips. But it also is going to be cutting edge, focused on the National Semiconductor Center. So it's going to be both. We have to do both. And as I said, simply put, NSTC equals JOBS, both high-end and manufacturing. Okay?
How do we incentivize?
And I just want to give a little credit to IBM as well. They understood that if they were the only operator here, along with SUNY Albany, that it wouldn't have the breadth, the success, and the support if it was a whole consortium. And there's a long list of companies, Applied Materials, I mean, so many of them. Over 100 companies are here. They started it. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
How much does this act incentivize American companies to use chips that are made in America rather than...
The companies lobbied for it. When some of our Republican friends wouldn't do it, when Mitch McConnell said, because we had the heads of all the major companies on the phone calling up senators. The companies want to be here in America. But if Europe or China is offering them huge incentives and we say, just you're on your own, they're going to go there. But they want to be here. All things being equal, they want to be here, and this bill says they will stay here. Come here. Grow here. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I got to hurry up. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.